Hey everybody, Brian Good here. Here's an update to our outlook for the next few days and what's going to happen, of course, as we head toward the weekend with a tropical influence and a sneak peek at what happens down the road, even early July. In the short term, we're tracking the potential for some severe weather this evening. And that yellow zone has a slight risk, marginal elsewhere, and then again back in the slight risk on the northeast side of Bill, tracking to the north. And what we have here, pieces of energy riding along the ridge of high pressure here. The ring of fire continues. And every time we see one of these pieces of energy move in at the max heating of the day, that is where they begin to draw the outline potential here for damage and winds to take place. And again, that's what's happening here for today. Tomorrow, another piece rolls through. This one has a better chance to develop the strongest wind fields in the northern portions of our viewing area. I wouldn't roll out some warnings even along I-64, even south of there. So that is something we will watch as we head into the day on Thursday. And then as we head into this evening, though, I think overall it's going to be mainly a heavy rain potential as we head into the between now and midnight tonight. Temperatures at the moment have cooled off from the 90-degree temperature we had earlier today. It's day 8 in a row of 90-degree weather, and it looks like temperatures now are trying to rebound as we head into sunset. Still some clusters of thunderstorms are tracking this evening, mainly to the south. You see that's a storm that produced the wind damage and isolated nature in Louisville. Now it's tracking into Shelby County. And then more development here to our south. That should stay to our south this evening around the E-Town area. Wider view does show that we are seeing some of the outflow from these storms in Kentucky pushing outward. We'll see if this can create a band of heavier rain that could develop north of 64 between now and midnight. We're not seeing much evidence of that yet. But if it's going to develop, it'll develop in that zone where that outflow from Kentucky is building northbound into southern Indiana. Very humid atmosphere in this area. Got to watch for humid conditions could lead to heavy rain in that area. There's not much energy showing up here in Missouri, so it looks like anything is it's going to develop here between now and midnight. Small chance overnight because of all these little boundaries laying around. Short-range models do show that activity again between now and midnight. Fades away, mainly a chance isolated shower north of town. Thursday afternoon, we're going to heat up quick again. We're going to go with this 93. That'll make it day 9 in a row of this heat wave. It'll lead to thunderstorms popping on the radar for the afternoon. Some of those could be locally strong, if not severe. A few warnings cannot be ruled out. Torrential downpours also being a factor. But then we enter in a very interesting setup here. For Thursday night and Friday morning, there looks to be a band of very heavy rain that could set up shop. Now, is it going to be north of us in Indiana, or is it going to be right along I-64 or the parkways in Kentucky? We'll try to fine-tune this more tomorrow. But it does look like there is going to be a likelihood of a band of very heavy rain. This is the first leg, if you will, of Bill being extended outward as we head into late Friday night, or late Thursday night and early Friday. So we'll watch that carefully for some heavy rain potential. Then we get into Bill itself. I think most of Friday afternoon after that heavy rain looks fairly quiet. But Friday night into Saturday, here comes the core of Bill moving through the area. Kevin and I were noticing the trend here as they're bringing the circulation center further south. It was centering around Terre Haute. Now it's factoring more into southwest Indiana. If that were to be the case, that would bring the heaviest rain right along the Ohio River now instead of a little further to the north. And again, this is only just a recent change in model data. We'll trend this and see if it keeps happening. That would also mean the threat for anything strong as far as wind damage that may take place would be in Kentucky. The reason why the wind fields are impressive. I mean, you can get isolated tornadoes with these kind of winds. The difference is that the storm potential for updrafts is not as great because the cloud tops are warm. It's a tropical system. Usually we have cold cloud tops, warm ground that allows the air to rise, and you get the winds tapped into and you shove them to the ground, or you rotate them. In this scenario, the winds are warm aloft, warm at the ground, so there's not much lifting that's going on. So while we have the wind potential there, we don't have the right mechanism to bring those winds to the ground. So that's why the severe threat is not overly high. If we were to see this in a typical scenario of just a low pressure itself, not tropical, different story for us. We'd be talking about a significant threat for damaging winds and maybe even isolated tornadoes. I still wouldn't rule it out, but I think the chance right now remains low. We'll monitor this. Overall, heavy rain looks to be the threat as we head into Saturday as it passes through. I know we have a lot of outdoor activities planned, so we're trying to get a good handle on the path of the heavy rain and, of course, on the timing as well. It moves off to the east slowly as we head into Saturday night into Sunday, and the GFS shows that. Then once that leaves, we heat up as we into Sunday, and then we have to watch for MCSs, those complexes of thunderstorms that roll in. The models, as the GFS are hinting, they should start initiating across Illinois the next several afternoons after Sunday, I should mention, and then drop south and east. The question is, how close to our area will they impact us. Here's one round that comes in late Sunday into Monday. Here's another round as we head into Monday that tracks again Illinois into Northeast Kentucky. And then yet another one that moves in as we head into a Tuesday afternoon from the Northwest. That one's a little further to the north. So we'll wait and see if we're going to be in this MCS zone, if you will, for complexes of storms that could roll in starting Sunday night and through Tuesday afternoon. Right now, again, they should stay just far enough north to not really bother us, but MCSs, if they do anything at all, they usually turn to the right and go toward the higher dew points as they track southeast. So that's why we've got to be on guard that one or two of these may track more in this fashion instead of just due southeast. So just kind of a heads up there. We're watching after Bill for next week. Rainfall-wise, from all the events here, the tropical winds and all, this is the event all the way through Friday. Again, spitting out the potential for maybe some 2-inch totals that could take place from the rain through Friday. And I will say this, the model isn't showing this yet, but now the models with that further south track are indicating that 4 to 6.5 inches of rain may fall in this area. It's a possibility. We're watching the trends to see if that's a fact, but if that's the case, we may be dealing with a significant flooding event for some folks here from the Thursday night, Friday morning event, and then Bill's effects on Saturday. We'll play it out. Stay tuned. Otherwise, as we get into next week, I mentioned those MCSs that move through. It is a warm front that they're riding along. Once that front pushes to the north, high pressure here that's been the heat mechanism in the southeast is going to build back into the Ohio Valley. And the core of a decent heat wave appears to be developing once again next week, and it could give us our hottest weather so far. The models indicate we'll be in the 90s by the time we get into Tuesday afternoon. And by Wednesday, we could be talking about 97. I will say some models are taking us to 100 degrees in our southern counties. And we may see that trend continue. But there are signs. There are signs. But by the weekend and perhaps into the first couple days of July, we may see some cool weather. Maybe some 70s sneak in here, especially for our northeast counties. It's a chance. And that would be a repeat of what happened last year at the end of June and July, which would be fascinating to see that happen 2 years exactly. But, all right, so as you can see there, we had a lot to track. Between temperatures, rain, heavy rain, tropical rains, MCSs, we've got a lot going on. So stay tuned. We'll keep you updated.